Let's now bring in Alan Kessel, former Assistant Deputy Minister for Legal Affairs and Legal Advisor to Global Affairs Canada. Alan, good evening and thank you for your time.
Happy to be here.
This is being described as a very historic moment, and there's a celebration of certain parts of the world looking at how it all panned out. Talk to us about Prime Minister Mark Carney's presence there in Egypt, even though it was a last-minute visit, and the fact that he is one of those signatories over there attending this particular summit.
Well, I think this is very important for Canada, and it's particularly important for this Prime Minister as he begins his mandate. He's now going to be part of shaping the future of the region, not with slogans, hopefully, but with solutions. But Canada has always brought credibility, calm, the ability to speak to Washington, Jerusalem, and Arab capitals. And in a region that's fractured by mistrust, I think it makes Canada a valuable partner.
Talk to us about those functions, roles, or things that you see Canada providing in terms of providing that stability and rebuilding in the region.
Well, we're the quintessential rebuilders. Canada has a huge experience in the development aid side of things, and this is very much a development aid post-conflict situation, which Canada has huge expertise in global affairs and elsewhere in government. And this is where we can bring in our credibility. Canada's known as honest brokers. We're also honest in a world where we need to have honesty, specifically in areas where money seems to disappear very quickly. But we also have very good planners, and we monitor things. So this is an opportunity for Canadians to bring a Canadian touch of expertise and middle power calm to this particular area.
Alan, you would agree that rebuilding, of course, is an important part of this entire process, but comes much later. There is a lot more that happens between today and the entire rebuilding process. What do you see Canada provide in terms of that stability in the region? And when I talk about stability, I mean, of course, peace. I mean that we don't see another violation of sorts of the ceasefire. Do you see Canada playing any sort of role there as well?
Well, this is a very fragile and fraught peace. It's not really a peace, it's a ceasefire. I think a peace comes after you've disarmed Hamas, and that's going to be the most difficult part of this. Canada was very much part. We donated judges and others and the Chastelaine for the Northern Ireland peace process, the decommissioning of weapons. Maybe we can look at some of those particular areas of expertise from Canada. We've done decommissioning of weapons before. We had the trust of the IRA. This may be another opportunity for Canada to bring its particular credibility to the table.
Alan, nation building is an extremely complicated process, you would agree. We've seen such attempts in the past in areas like, Iraq, in Afghanistan. Some would say, of course, we've seen those examples fail as well. Talk to me about how challenging that is really going to be when we talk about nation building process, especially for, in time to come, maybe a state of Palestine.
Well, this is probably the most difficult part of the future. If the future does not include Hamas, which is what is contemplated by most of the agreements, I have not seen the final version that was signed. I don't know if everybody has. My understanding is that they were taking the peace process that Trump gave them. And part of that was the removal of Hamas, both from a social connection as well as from the political side, as well as from the military. They have a history, as you know, of teaching young to hate. And I think we have to move from hate to cooperation, collaboration, and an understanding of the neighbor. That is going to be a long-term process. We've got a whole series of generations there that have not been brought up with that in mind.
Right.
Can Canada bring its expertise? I think we can. I think this is a perfect moment for Canada to reinsert itself into an area where it's been really essentially missing in action.
All right, we'll leave it at that for the moment, though. Alan Kessel, former Assistant Deputy Minister for Legal Affairs and Legal Advisor to Global Affairs Canada. Alan, thank you for your time.
Thank you.